First of all, I want to congratulate all of the awardees for their excellent work and thank the organizers for this initiative. Let me just say this, because Polly asked me to say something about putting a price on carbon. We face a massive problem. Global emissions have to fall at least 50%. In this country, more like 80%. The only way that can happen is if all households and all businesses take the necessary actions to raise energy efficiency, to switch to renewables, to change the way they do business. Now, most of us are environmentalists. We don't get up in the morning saying our goal for the day is to do as much environmental damage as possible. I mean, our values are aligned with environmental protection, but our values and interests are not aligned. We get up in the morning, we go to work, we try to make a living, etc. The problem cannot be solved unless people's values and people's interests are aligned. Now, the way that can happen is that people are charged and held responsible for their environmental impacts. And the way that can happen, in turn, is one of two ways. Either changes to the market system can be made such that the cost of environmental protection and resource degradation are built into the price of everything. So that people, whether they're environmentalists or not, if they're just businessmen going about the business of maximizing profits, minimizing costs, will take these impacts into account in their day-to-day operations. This idea is a century old, but of course governments now do just the opposite. They subsidize environmental damaging activities. Why? Because businesses would like to be able to go on using the environment as a cost-free dump. The other way that this can be done is by setting limits on emissions and environmental impacts within which businesses, households, markets have to operate. And then letting the market determine what those market prices will become. The example of that we're familiar with is the so-called cap and trade system, which the Republicans and the oil interests and the coal interests have been trying to demonize. But we have experience that it works. It's worked successfully in limiting sulfur emissions, nitrogen emissions, lead emissions, and saving billions of dollars while achieving environmental goals. The same system would work well in limiting CO2 and other greenhouse gas emissions. Those limits are set and emissions are ratcheted down by regulation or permit gradually year after year. Prices of fossil fuels would rise. Everybody would experience those higher prices for environmentally damaging practices, and the whole nation, and in fact the whole world, will be brought into the search for solution. It will energize and make more profitable energy efficiency, use of waste heat, renewable energy. Other countries are doing this. Europe is doing it. China is doing it. Korea is doing it. Quebec is doing it in Canada. one of the most important things we can do as citizens is to counteract the propaganda against this and help our politicians grow some background and enact that kind of a system for ourselves.